Hello and welcome. So in this practice, we're just gonna get really relaxed, really chill. I do have a couple of props with me. A bolster is optional. I won't be using it today, but if you want like a pillow or something like that, if you don't have a bolster, that's totally up to you, and I'll cue when we need that. I have a pile of blankets that we'll need. I've got a couple of blocks that will be helpful. And then I have a shoelace that I've tied into a loop that makes about maybe 7 or 8 inches when I'm pulling it from finger to finger here, and that mystery will be revealed at a later time. You don't need this shoelace situation. You can use a yoga strap instead, or you don't need any prop at all, but this is just kind of a fun thing to play around with. All right, so to get started, we're gonna go ahead and find child's pose, and I'm gonna use at least 1, if not 2 blankets in my child's pose. I actually lied, we do need the bolster. So I'm gonna bring my bolster up here for my child's pose. And then I'm gonna bring one of my blankets on top of my heels. I might snuggle it in a little bit back behind my knees. And then I'm going to bring another blanket, if not 2, on top of my bolster, just to serve as a little bit of a pillow. I'm gonna widen my knees just a little bit so I can sneak the bolster in between my knees. Now before I get started, if you don't have a bolster, that's fine. I would just recommend bringing your knees together and then using a block or a few folded blankets to create a little bit of a cushion for your head. The reason being, if we go into an extended child's pose like we might see in a typical vinyasa class, that is just a great position for us to just kind of drop our ribs forward in. And we really want to practice creating a little bit more space in our back line and kind of lengthening out that back line of our body. So I'm just going to relax here in my child's pose. And you can create a little pillow for your forehead, or you can just turn one cheek to one side. I'm noticing that while I'm here, I want one more blanket underneath my bum just to create a little bit more cushion. And all that to say, you can always add or remove props as needed to support wherever your body is on that day. The arms can be down at your sides, they can be on the sides of the bolster, they can be like I have them, just kind of propped up on top. And feel free to close your eyes if that feels comfortable in your body. Otherwise, you can just soften your gaze. And we do a lot of breath work in yoga for vaginismus using that koosh ball underneath our perineum. So while we're here in child's pose, we're going to see if we can pretend that koosh ball is there. And so just breathe into that space. And as you exhale, just soften. And these first few breaths in any posture are really just nice to use to kind of settle into your body and let your body adjust to the shape. And then seeing if there are any adjustments you need to make to the shape in order to fit your body. So rather than forcing our body into any position, we're really just using the position to get more into our body. And as your body settles, again, bring your breath down into your pelvic floor, and then notice it going up and down your spine as you inhale and exhale. So in through your nose, down your throat, down your spine, and into your pelvic floor. And then reversing the pattern on the way back up. And typically for our pelvic floor, we want to focus on breathing into our low back. With this belly down position, it can feel nice to breathe into our bellies as well. So maybe finding more of a 360-degree breath. Just noticing how, as you shift the attention of where your breath goes, what changes. And if you like this position, you can stay here for a little while longer. And if you'd like to transition to our next posture, gently bring your hands down to the mat below your shoulders and press yourself up. And then just kind of take a moment in this kneeling position just to kind of notice how you feel. And then gently remove your blankets from underneath you, from your bolster. And you might want to use your bolster for this next position. I'm going to use a block, so just maybe have some of your props nearby so you can figure out what you might want to use. We're just going to go into a supported bridge pose. So for bridge, I'm going to come down to my back. And then my feet are grounded on the mat. My heels are near my seat. And then our hands will be resting kind of near our bum. And then for a supported bridge, I'm going to lift my hips up. And I'm going to do the medium height of the block. You can also do the lower height. I'm just going to test out the medium in my body. Nope, don't like that today. I'm going to go down to the lower height. I'm just going to keep it here. And again, arms at your sides. Palms can be down or up. And again, just go ahead and soften your eyes closed. And you can also use the bolster underneath your hips if you like that sense of cushion or if you don't have a block. And your knees can be straight up to the ceiling here. I'm kind of feeling like mine want to knock together a little bit today, so I'm going to let them do that. And when I do that, I pigeon toe my feet slightly. And for me, that just creates a little bit more space in my lower back and between my sits bones. And again, let your body just kind of settle for a few moments and then draw your attention to your breath. And breathe into your pelvic floor, into your perineum. And I'm going to keep my feet down in this position today, but if you want to find legs up the wall here, you can always bring your heels up toward the ceiling. Spoiler alert, that's what we're going to do next, so I'm going to stay grounded, but just know if you ever practice this posture on your own, that's definitely an option. And I'll just take a few more breaths here. And then take get out of our posture, we'll reground our feet, gently lift your hips, remove your blocker, your bolster. And it can feel nice to just gently windshield wiper our feet from side to side before we move on. All right, to get up, we'll just come into a fetal position on one side and then press yourself up. So we'll be doing legs up the wall next. This one can be a little bit complicated to get into if you've never done this before. I'm gonna use some blankets under my hips in addition to under my shoulders. So for my hips, I'm just folding a blanket like this. I'm gonna prop this one against the wall. And then I am going to use 2 blankets under my shoulders and my head. So I've got this one for under my shoulders. And then this guy folded a couple times for a little pillow for my head. We might need to adjust these. We'll see how we do once I get into it. And then if you have a strap or a shoelace situation, just kind of have that in one hand ready to go. So to get into legs up the wall, I think this is gonna need to be a little closer. I like to sit directly against the wall. I'm actually gonna scooch myself up to the edge of my mat. And then I am just gonna let myself kind of fall to the side, put my booty up against the wall, and then lift my legs up. Because we wanna be right against the wall if we can be. If this does not feel good in your body, another option here is if you're in like your living room or a bedroom and you have a low bed, or if you have like an ottoman, you can just kind of scoot your booty up to that piece of furniture, and then you can bend your knees and rest your calves on the seat. Now what I'm gonna do with my shoelace is I'm just going to bend my knees, bring my feet down, and I'm just gonna loop the shoelace around my big toe. You can also take a yoga strap and make a loop that's, anywhere between like 8 to 12 inches wide, just depending upon what's comfortable for your body. And you can loop that around your feet or your ankles. Why I like the big toe situation here is because it causes this internal rotation in my legs, which then opens up the back of the pelvic floor, which is where I need to create more movement in my body and where I'm guessing you need to create more movement in yours too. And so this is just like a really nice and easy way to do that. Again, without having to work too hard. Our goal here is to just be able to relax as much as possible. If you are doing this, again, using like a couch or an ottoman, you can kind of create a sense of internal rotation in your hips as you kind of bend your knees. So you can play around with that as well. And then let's see here. My blankets are not exactly where I want them to be underneath my shoulders. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of shimmying there. And then my head blanket, I want folded one more time. And again, the reason I want a little bit of cushion underneath my shoulders and my head is because that will help my rib cage relax downward. All right, so this one is a little bit of a production, but once we get settled in, you can go ahead and close your eyes or soften your gaze. Arms can be wherever they feel comfortable, so if your arms feel better kind of splaying outward or in a cactus position, you can bring them there. You can bring them to your heart and your belly or your womb space. And again, just letting your body have some time to settle in. And then same story, I'm going to start to shift my breath down into my pelvic floor. Focusing on my low back, the back of my lower ribs. when I have my feet slightly pigeon-toed like this, I'm also able to get this sense of like breathing in between my sits bones and creating more space with every breath. And this is a great posture to do before bed. You can even do it in your bed. And keep softening your body. Almost challenging yourself to see how relaxed you can get. And I'll leave you to finish this practice whenever it suits you. To get out of legs out off up the wall rather. First, if you have your toes bound, you can remove your string, and you'll just roll to one side, and then push yourself up to a seated position. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next class.